Hey there, John Dorn coming to you from the Backpacker Magazine studios in Emmaus, Pennsylvania. People call it the Hollywood of the East. You may not have heard of it, but we're harnessing the power of digital video for the very first time to bring you sneak previews of some of the gear that we're reviewing in the current issue. I'm sitting here with one of the tents that's in the December 2006 issue. In that issue, we have a field test of 2-person, 3-season tents. And this is actually not one of those tents, but it's in the gear department in our field notes section. And I want to talk to you today about it because we're all really pretty excited about a fairly radical new technology that's in this tent. Now, this looks like the bad result of some testing mishap, and it's not. I promise you that. In a second, you're going to see why we're excited about it. This is a tent called the NEMO Morpho, and what's really cool about it is that it doesn't use traditional tent poles. In its place, it has inflatable air beams. They pump up with this little lightweight foot pump. Now I had it about 1/4 of the way inflated, and it's taken me maybe another 15 pumps to get it all the way popped up. You feel from the tension on your foot when it's done. And when it's done, it's pretty dang sturdy. The beams are each about this big around. They're filled with air. There are 2 of them. It's a hoop style tent, front and back. And, you know, side to side, you can see this tent, you know, may collapse on you if you get a huge wind. But one of the benefits over a traditional tent pole is that it's not going to snap. It's just going to rebound back up. Now, front to back, you've got really excellent stability. If you put the tent into the wind this way or with the back end into the wind. I actually had this tent out in Glen Canyon on a reader testing trip, and another guy had his traditional tent staked out, and it got blown away into the canyon. We had some pretty gusty winds. The Morpho stood fast in those winds, which was a really a good eye-opener for us in learning about these air beams. Now, this doesn't come cheap. This tent costs $565. Part of that's the air beams. Part of that is that it's a single-wall tent. The fabric here is a waterproof, breathable fabric, and it's actually quite good at resisting condensation. But part of what you're looking at here, you're paying the price for the development of a new technology that we think that both NEMO and maybe some other companies are going to be looking into more over the next couple of years. And in terms of some of the more traditional performance characteristics in a tent like this, the space inside this is absolutely phenomenal. I'm 6'6", and I can lie down inside this tent and easily have a foot of room to spare, either below my feet or above my head, for gear storage, for maybe a kid, and plenty of room side to side. 2 sleeping pads easily fit side by side in here. Headroom is not terribly generous for a guy my size. I can sit up without brushing my head, really only here at the peak. But for 2 normal-sized people in the 6-foot range, this is really pretty palatial. And at 6 pounds 4 ounces, you're really only carrying about 3 pounds per person, which is a pretty good deal for a tent with this much room that's going to stand up in weather. Now, the durability of this tent has been great. We haven't seen any punctures in the air beams. The single wall fabric seems really solid. The one other feature that I want to point out about this tent is that it's got an awful lot of doors and vestibule options. On the sides here, you've got twin doors that are the same size. There's not actually vestibules on the side, but you've got an option here that I'm going to show you in a second where you can pull back the floor of the inside tent underneath this front door and create another vestibule underneath. I'm going to crawl in now and show you that. All you really have to do here is come on through that front door, which we've got a zip open screen door in here, which is, by the way, pretty good for ventilation. And you just pull up the stakes or unclip here. You have the option of setting up the inner tent either way, and then just pull this inner tent back here. So if you're in extreme weather, and say you're out in winter on a mountaineering trip, and you need to create some vestibule space for gear storage or maybe even some emergency cooking, you can create a pretty sizable vestibule here where we'll easily store a couple packs, or you can set a tent up in, a stove up in. You've still got excellent straight down rain protections, nothing's coming into your living space. And while the space in the back here gets kind of crowded for sleeping, for stretching out, a guy my size, there's still enough room, again, in an emergency situation to be perfectly comfortable. So again, the NEMO Morpho is a tent to keep your eye on. You can read more details about this product and a whole bunch of other stuff in our December 2006 issue.